My name is Amelia Carter, and to my family, I don't exist, except when they need me. The words echo in my mind as I zip up my suitcase, the sound sharp in the quiet of my Manhattan apartment. The space around me glows with the soft golden light of the evening sun bouncing off the warm cream walls and polished wood floors. It smells faintly of lavender and eucalyptus, a signature scent blend my company created last year. To anyone else, this would be just another cozy apartment, but to me, it's proof. Proof that I've built a life entirely on my own, far away from the cold, suffocating walls of my childhood home. On the small desk by the window, my laptop is open, displaying tomorrow's schedule in neat, color-coded blocks. Finalizing a $5 million expansion deal, strategy meeting with my executive team, dinner with Sophia Zhang. Each task sits like a gleaming gem, carefully earned through years of quiet determination. Next to the laptop, stacks of transquescence brochures showcase smiling clients lounging on sunlit terraces, infinity pools shimmering behind them. A few small glass jars of our signature spa scrubs sit beside them, their subtle scents filling the air. This is my world, my empire, built without a single dime or word of encouragement from my family. I smooth my hand over the suitcase, making sure everything is in order. Crisp suits in muted tones, heels that balance elegance with authority, a silk blouse Sophia once complimented during a conference call. My heart beats steadily, calm and controlled, like the tranquil music we play in our resorts. On the surface, I'm the perfect picture of poise. Inside, a storm swirls. As I double-check my packing list, a memory sneaks up on me, sharp and uninvited. I'm 16 again, standing in the grand kitchen of the Carter estate. The marble counters are cold beneath my hands as my mother's voice slices through the air. "You'll never make it without this family's name, Amelia," Eleanor snaps, her perfectly manicured fingers tapping impatiently on the countertop. "You have pipe dreams. They'll amount to nothing." I swallow back tears, staring at the floor while my younger sister Victoria twirls in a new designer dress nearby. Victoria laughs, basking in our mother's approval. "Maybe Amelia can be my assistant when I'm running my own company," she says, her voice syrupy sweet. My father, Charles, sits in the adjoining room, swirling his wineglass in silence. He doesn't defend me. He never does. The scene shifts, like flipping through a photo album I wish I could burn. I see Christmas mornings where Victoria tears through gift after glittering gift while I hover in the background, gathering up discarded wrapping paper like a housemaid. I see Eleanor's sharp smile as she introduces me to her friends. This is Amelia. She's between jobs right now. I see myself shrinking smaller and smaller, year after year, until I'm practically invisible. The buzz of my phone jerks me back to the present. I glance at the screen, my chest tightening when I see the name, Victoria. I swipe it open, already bracing myself. Mum says, "Don't screw up this year. These are important people. Don't embarrass us." My lips curl into a bitter smile. Some things never change. The anger rises slow and hot, simmering beneath my ribs. I've spent years playing their game, letting them see only what they wanted to see. A failure, a placeholder, someone to clean up their messes and never demand recognition. Meanwhile, I've been building something extraordinary right under their noses. I glance around my apartment, taking in the evidence of my real life. The framed photo of me with my team after we opened our third resort. The carefully curated decor that reflects me, not Eleanor's cold perfectionism. My phone buzzes again, dragging my attention back. Also, wear something simple, nothing flashy. Victoria needs to stand out. I laugh, a sound more bitter than amused. For Christmas Eve, they expect me to cook a 7-course dinner for 30 of their elite friends, then fade into the background like the help. And tomorrow they'll introduce me as between jobs, while Victoria holds court like a queen. My thumb hovers over the message. For a moment, the weight of years presses down on me. Years of swallowing my pride, of being small so Victoria could shine. Then my eyes shift to the calendar notification that just popped up on my screen. Flight to Miami, 9:45 p.m. The sight of it makes something inside me tighten. This trip isn't just a business move, it's my declaration of independence. It's choosing me over them, finally and completely. I take a deep breath, feeling the power of the moment settle in my bones. My suitcase is ready, my future is waiting. This year will be different, I whisper into the quiet room, my voice steady, unshakable. For the first time, I truly believe it. The ringtone cuts through the quiet like a sharp blade. My heart sinks the moment I see Mom glowing on the screen. I stare at it for a second, thumb hovering. I could ignore it. Pretend I'm already on the plane. But I know better. Eleanor Carter isn't the kind of woman you ignore, not unless you're ready for the consequences, I answer, forcing my voice into a neutral tone. Hello. Her response isn't a greeting, just a command. Cancel whatever silly plans you have for tomorrow, Amelia. We need you here at noon. There's a pause, like she's waiting for me to object so she can crush me under her heel. I open my mouth, but she barrels on, her voice crisp and cold. 30 guests, 7 courses. I'll send you the menu 7 courses, 30 guests, less than 24 hours notice. Typical Eleanor Carter, demanding the impossible and acting as if I should be grateful for the privilege. My hand tightens around the phone. Mum, And please, she interrupts, her tone dripping disdain. Try not to ruin the lamb this year. Last Christmas was nearly catastrophic. Honestly, Amelia, how hard is it to follow a recipe? The unfairness of it makes my throat ache. Last Christmas, Victoria had distracted me with her endless social media photo shoots while I was cooking. She'd deliberately thrown off my timing, then laughed when Eleanor scolded me in front of everyone. Eleanor doesn't wait for me to respond. This dinner is important. Very important. Victoria has a potential investor coming, Sophia Zhang. You've heard of her, haven't you? A billionaire, a powerhouse in the hospitality industry. If she's impressed, she might fund Victoria's PR firm. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing bitterly. Oh, I know exactly who Sophia Zhang is. She's the woman I've been negotiating with for months, the woman I'm flying to Miami to meet tomorrow morning. But Eleanor wouldn't know that. In her eyes, I'm just the family cook. I'll text you the guest list and the menu, Eleanor continues briskly. Don't embarrass us, Amelia. The line goes dead. I lower the phone slowly, staring at it like it might bite me. My chest feels tight, a mix of rage and hurt pressing against my ribs. It doesn't matter how old I get or what I achieve. Eleanor's voice has a way of shrinking me back into that invisible, obedient girl I used to be. The phone buzzes again, this time with a text from Victoria. Sophia is huge. Do not screw this up. Just stay out of sight and make sure the food is perfect. Oh, and wear something plain. You know the drill. I nearly laugh, but the sound comes out strangled. My eyes drift to my suitcase, perfectly packed and ready for the flight. Beside it sits the stack of Tranquescence brochures, gleaming with the promise of the future I've built entirely on my own, my company, my employees, my dream. The phone buzzes again, Victoria's name flashing insistently. I don't open it this time. Instead, I swipe the message away and focus on the glossy gala menu Eleanor has just sent me. 7 impossibly complicated dishes, most of which take hours to prepare. Each one a symbol of everything they expect from me. Perfection without acknowledgement, labor without love. I set the phone down and run a hand through my hair, pacing the room. My employees are counting on me. Tomorrow's meeting with Sophia isn't just about growth. It's about securing stability for everyone who's helped me build this dream. As I pace, another memory rises, sharp and unbidden. I'm 22, back for Victoria's lavish birthday party. The house is full of laughing guests, champagne flutes clinking, the air buzzing with celebration. Victoria leans against the grand staircase, flawless in a designer gown, sipping her drink. "So, Amelia," she says loudly, making sure nearby guests can hear. "Still working on that, what was it again?" "Your little spa idea." "It's a wellness resort concept," I reply, my cheeks burning. "I've been working on it for a while now, and Victoria snickers, cutting me off. "Don't you think you're being a bit delusional, Amelia?" "Stick to cooking. It's the only thing you're good at." The guests laugh politely, shifting uncomfortably but saying nothing. I stand there, humiliated, wishing I could disappear. The memory fades, replaced by the here and now. I am not that girl anymore. I stand still in my apartment, breathing deeply. Slowly, deliberately, I pick up my phone. Victoria's message glares up at me, demanding compliance. Without hesitation, I hit delete. Then I close my eyes, centering myself. My pulse steadies. The storm in my chest calms. "I choose me," I say out loud, my voice clear and firm in the stillness. For the first time in my life, I mean it. The apartment is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels alive, like it's holding its breath along with me. I stand in the center of the room, taking one last look around. Everything is perfectly in place. The suitcase by the door, the faint scent of lavender in the air, the evening glow softening the edges of the space I've called home for the past 5 years. I move methodically, making sure nothing is left unfinished. Counters wiped down, coffee table cleared, curtains drawn. My home has always been a sanctuary, one I built with care and intention, something my family would never understand. On the kitchen counter, I place a single sheet of paper. It lists emergency catering contacts, chefs and suppliers who could easily save tonight's dinner if anyone bothered to call them. Beside it, I set down one of my business cards. Amelia Reed, founder and CEO, Tranquessence Resorts. I stare at it for a moment, a bittersweet smile tugging at my lips. "If they ever cared enough to ask," I murmur, "they'd know." But they never did. They never asked about my work, my life, my dreams. To them, I've always been the family's shadow, a tool to be used, then forgotten once the lights come up. I zip my suitcase closed with a sharp, satisfying sound, grab my coat, and sling my bag over my shoulder. I'm halfway to the door when my phone rings again. Mum. Of course. For a brief second, I consider ignoring it, letting her words fall into the void like they've so often made mine disappear. But I answer because this time I want to be the one to end it on my terms. "Amelia!" Eleanor's voice snaps through the receiver, sharp and cold. "Where are you?" "Guests will be arriving soon, and you're not here." "Tell me you're at least on your way." I take a deep breath, my fingers tightening on the phone. When I speak, my tone is calm, almost eerily so. "No, Mom, I'm not coming." Silence. Then a sharp inhale, like she can't believe what she just heard. "What did you just say?" "You heard me," I reply, steady. "I won't be there tonight. I have other plans." Her voice drops into that dangerous, icy register that used to terrify me as a child. "If you walk away from this family, Amelia, don't bother coming back." My chest tightens, but I refuse to let her words sink into me like they used to. I let the quiet stretch between us, then answer softly, with a finality that surprises even me. "You've never seen me anyway." For the first time in my life, I hang up on her. The finality of it rings louder than her voice ever did. The taxi ride through Manhattan is a blur of lights and movement. Skyscrapers glow like sentinels against the night sky, streets bustling with last-minute Christmas shoppers. I watch it all pass through the window, my reflection layered over the city like a ghost. Years of memories swirl in my mind. Christmas mornings spent serving coffee while Victoria basked in attention. Birthdays where my achievements were dismissed while hers were celebrated. All those moments where I let myself fade into the background, telling myself it was easier not to fight. Not anymore. Tonight, I'm not fading. Tonight, I'm choosing myself. The taxi pulls up to the airport, the driver cheerfully wishing me a Merry Christmas as he unloads my bag. My heart pounds, not from fear, but from something fierce and liberating. I check my boarding pass one last time before heading through security. The terminal is buzzing with holiday chaos, families reuniting, travellers rushing to make flights. But for once, I feel utterly still inside. When the plane lifts off the runway, the city shrinking beneath me, a rush of emotion floods my chest. I close my eyes, whispering to the dark sky beyond the window, "Here's to new beginnings." And for the first time in my life, the words don't feel like a wish. They feel like a promise. The Carter estate gleamed under a blanket of fresh snow, its perfectly manicured hedges strung with delicate white lights that sparkled like diamonds in the frosty night. From the outside, it looked flawless, like a picture ripped straight from a glossy lifestyle magazine. But inside, chaos brewed beneath the marble floors and glittering chandeliers. "Where is she?" Eleanor's voice ricocheted off the vaulted ceilings, sharp and panicked. She stormed through the massive kitchen in her silk evening gown, her heels clicking furiously against the polished tile. "Amelia should have been here hours ago," Victoria trailed behind, her designer dress swishing as she scrolled through her phone with trembling fingers. "She's not answering any of my texts," she snapped, the slightest hint of hysteria creeping into her tone. "Mum, what are we going to do? These guests are important. Sophia Jang is literally on her way right now." Eleanor stopped in the middle of the kitchen, chest heaving as she surveyed the disaster around her. Empty counters, no roasting pans in the ovens, no trays of hors d'oeuvres lined up neatly, ready to be served. Nothing. It was as if the heart of the home had been ripped out, leaving only the cold, echoing shell of a kitchen. 30 guests, Eleanor muttered, pressing a hand to her forehead. 30 guests expecting a 7-course meal, and we have nothing. Victoria's voice rose to a shriek. "Call a caterer!" "It's Christmas Eve," Eleanor snapped. "Every caterer in this city is either booked or closed." For a long moment, they simply stared at one another, the full weight of the impending disaster sinking in. Then Victoria let out a guttural groan, throwing her phone down on the counter. "Fine, we'll order takeout." Something fast Eleanor's mouth fell open. "Takeout?" For Sophia Jang. Victoria ran her hands through her perfectly styled hair. "Do you have a better idea? Because unless you're planning to start cooking right now, this is all we've got." An hour later, the Carter dining room, a space usually reserved for society galas and charity dinners, had descended into tragic farce. Papa John's pizza boxes were stacked high on the gleaming granite counters, their garish red and green logos clashing horribly with the pristine white cabinetry. Eleanor and Victoria frantically arranged greasy slices onto gleaming Waterford crystal platters, the absurdity of the scene lost on no one. The rich, oily smell of melted cheese mingled unpleasantly with Eleanor's expensive French perfume. Guests began to arrive, their polished shoes tracking snow across the imported rugs. They entered expecting elegance and sophistication, and were instead greeted by the unmistakable aroma of cheap takeout. "Darling," one woman whispered to her husband, wrinkling her nose, "is that pizza?" Sophia Jang arrived precisely on time, stepping into the room with an air of calm authority. She was tall and impeccably dressed in a minimalist black suit, her sharp eyes taking in every detail without a word. Victoria practically lunged toward her, pasting on a dazzling smile that didn't quite hide her desperation. "Sophia, so glad you could make it," she gushed, grabbing Sophia's hands. "We've been dying to introduce you to our circle." Sophia's gaze drifted to the buffet table, where pizza slices lay forlornly on crystal dishes. Her lips twitched, though whether in amusement or disdain was impossible to tell. "This is unconventional," she said smoothly. Victoria's cheeks burned bright red. Oh, well, rustic chic is very in right now, she babbled, grabbing a napkin to dab at a streak of sauce that had dripped onto her $1,200 dress. Anyway, let me tell you about my firm, Carter PR. We specialize in elite branding for high-profile clients like yourself. As Victoria spoke, Sophia's expression remained unreadable, though her eyes flicked once more toward the buffet before returning to Victoria. She listened politely, but offered no encouragement. Minutes later, she excused herself early, leaving Victoria standing alone, breathless and sweating beneath her perfect makeup. The moment the door closed behind Sophia, the whispering began. "Did you see that?" one guest murmured behind a manicured hand. "Eleanor Carter serving pizza like it was a joke. I heard they couldn't even get a caterer. How embarrassing." The words spread like wildfire, each hushed remark fueling the next, until the entire room hummed with quiet derision. Eleanor's face flushed crimson as she caught snippets of the gossip. She clutched a champagne flute so tightly her knuckles whitened. "This is Amelia's fault," she declared loudly, silencing the room. Her voice shook with fury. "My unstable, useless daughter abandoned us tonight. She sabotaged this entire evening." Victoria nodded eagerly beside her, eyes darting nervously toward the remaining guests. "Exactly. She's always been jealous of me. She wanted to ruin my shot with Sophia." The guests exchanged skeptical glances, their polite masks barely hiding their judgment. Eleanor straightened her shoulders, raising her glass in a brittle toast. "We will not let one ungrateful girl destroy our reputation." But as the murmurs resumed, the damage was already done. The Carter's perfect facade was cracking, and everyone could see it. The Miami sun was already blazing by the time I arrived at the glass-walled conference center, but my nerves felt strangely cool and steady. I'd been up since dawn, running over my pitch in my head, rehearsing every detail. Today wasn't just another business meeting, it was the meeting, the culmination of years of sleepless nights and relentless work. I paused just outside the sleek double doors of the executive suite and took a deep breath. The air smelled faintly of salt from the nearby ocean, mingled with the sharp tang of polished steel and citrus cleaner. A new beginning. Inside, Sophia Jiang stood by the panoramic window, a commanding figure against the backdrop of endless blue water and glistening skyscrapers. She turned as I entered, her dark, tailored suit flawless, her expression calm but assessing. "Amelia Reed," she said warmly, extending her hand. "It's good to finally meet you in person." I smiled, clasping her hand firmly. "The pleasure is mine, Sophia. Thank you for making time to meet during the holidays." Her eyes gleamed with sharp intelligence. "For the right opportunity, I'd make time on any day." She gestured to a table where two pristine white folders sat, each containing the proposed expansion deal for Trancosence. As we settled into our seats, Sophia leaned back slightly, a hint of amusement flickering in her eyes. "You know," she said conversationally, "it's funny. I flew here straight from Connecticut last night. The most bizarre dinner party I've ever attended." My stomach tightened, though I kept my expression neutral. "Oh?" She nodded, her tone dry. "It was at this very prestigious family's mansion. Gorgeous setting. But there was no food, none. They ended up serving takeout pizza on crystal platters." Her lips curved into a bemused smile, though her eyes stayed sharp. "Frankly, it was a disaster. The daughter hosting it was completely unprepared. She spent most of the evening trying to pitch me her PR firm while frantically blotting pizza grease off her dress." I folded my hands in my lap, every muscle in my body taut with restraint. Inside, my heart pounded so loudly I was sure she could hear it. "That does sound unusual," I managed, my voice smooth, even as memories of my mother's frantic voice and Victoria's desperate texts from last night swirled through my mind. Sophia gave a short, elegant laugh. "Unusual is one word for it. I left before dessert, or rather, before the last box of pizza arrived. It was clear their family wasn't ready for serious business discussions. The irony of her words nearly undid me. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from smiling. We shifted to discussing the expansion plans. I walked Sophia through the proposed resort locations, the architectural concepts, and our sustainability initiatives. As I spoke, the tension in my body eased. This was my world, my truth. Sophia listened intently, occasionally nodding, clearly impressed. Then, as I slid a document across the table for her signature, she paused. Her gaze fell to the bold print at the top of the page. Her eyes narrowed, then widened in sudden recognition. "Wait a moment," she murmured. "Carter." My heart stopped. Sophia looked up sharply, disbelief flashing across her face. "Carter." As in, last night's dinner. For a beat, the room was utterly silent. The hum of the air conditioning was the only sound. Slowly, I nodded. "Yes," I said softly. "They're my family." Sophia leaned back in her chair, then let out a startled laugh, shaking her head as though she couldn't quite believe it. "This is unbelievable. Your mother spent the entire evening complaining about you, about how unreliable and unstable you were. And now—" She spread her hands, gesturing to me, to the neatly prepared documents, to the success laid out before her. "You're the woman I came here to sign a $5 million deal with." A strange calm settled over me as I met her gaze. "They've never known who I really am," I said simply. Sophia studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled, slow and genuine. "Well, I certainly do now. And I must say, Amelia, I'm impressed, not just with your company, but with you. It takes extraordinary strength to build this kind of empire without family support." Warmth spread through my chest, not just pride, but relief. Finally, someone saw me for who I truly was. We signed the documents together, our pens gliding across the crisp paper. As we shook hands, Sophia's grip was firm, her voice rich with approval. "I'll be announcing our partnership publicly this afternoon," she said. "It's time the world knows the name Tranquescence and Amelia Reed." A smile broke across my face, bright and unrestrained. "Thank you, Sophia." "Truly." As she gathered her things, Sophia added, "And don't worry. After last night, I have a feeling this announcement will make quite the impact." I exhaled slowly as she left the room, my hands trembling slightly from the adrenaline. For years, my family had spoken over me, dismissed me, erased me. Now, the entire world was about to hear my voice. And there was no going back. The news broke like a tidal wave, swift and unstoppable. It started with a single post on Sophia Zhang's official Instagram account. A perfectly composed photo of the two of us standing side by side, smiling warmly against the sweeping ocean backdrop of my Miami resort. The caption was simple yet devastating. "Thrilled to announce an exciting new partnership with @Tranquescence Resorts, founded by the brilliant and visionary Amelia Reed. Here's to shaping the future of luxury wellness together." Sophia tagged me, my company, and used hashtags like #women in business and #next chapter. Within minutes, the comments flooded in. "Wait, Amelia Carter? I thought she was just some aimless daughter from that Greenwich family." Wow, talk about underestimating someone, queen energy. By the time I left the conference room, my phone was vibrating non-stop. Texts, calls, emails, congratulations from industry peers, journalists asking for statements, employees cheering me on from all 3 resort locations. And then Forbes dropped their bombshell. The cover article went live across every social media platform, from invisible to icon, how Amelia Reed built a luxury empire without family support. My face filled the screen, smiling, confident, powerful. The headline alone was enough to ignite a wildfire. Inside, the feature told my story in vivid detail. How I started Tranquescence from a tiny rented studio. How I worked 2 jobs while putting myself through business school. How I'd deliberately chosen to operate under my mother's maiden name, Reed, so my achievements would stand on their own. The article didn't name Eleanor, Victoria, or Charles directly, but it didn't have to. Everyone in Greenwich already knew exactly who I was and who they were. At the Carter estate, Christmas morning was anything but merry. Eleanor sat rigid on the white leather sofa, her phone buzzing so violently on the coffee table that it practically danced. Call after call, message after message, each one more damning than the last. "Eleanor, darling," a friend's voice shrieked through the speakerphone, "did you know your daughter is Amelia Reed?" "The Amelia Reed. We've been following her work for years. Why have you never mentioned this?" Eleanor's face turned a shade of mottled crimson. She stammered, trying to regain control of the narrative. We supported Amelia, of course. We've always encouraged her." But the voice on the other end cut her off with a scoff. "Funny, that's not what the article says. It's all over the news. Everyone's talking about it." Click. Another call. Another wave of humiliation. Across the room, Victoria sat slumped in an armchair, her mascara smudged, phone clutched in trembling hands. Her face was pale beneath her perfectly applied makeup. "This can't be happening," she whispered hoarsely. Sophia just cancelled. She pulled out of every deal with my firm, and oh my God, 2 other clients just dropped me too." She scrolled frantically through her messages, her voice breaking. "They all said the same thing. We'd rather work with your sister." Eleanor spun on her younger daughter, fury flashing in her eyes. "Don't say that word in this house," she screamed. "Sister." She stopped being part of this family the moment she left us to fend for ourselves last night. From his usual corner chair, Charles sat silently, nursing a glass of whiskey at 10 in the morning. His face was pale and drawn, his mouth opening and closing like he wanted to speak, but couldn't find the words. The house was eerily quiet for a moment, save for the relentless buzz of incoming notifications. Finally, Eleanor broke the silence with a strangled laugh that bordered on hysteria. "Do you understand what this means?" she hissed. "They're all laughing at us. All of Greenwich, our friends, our colleagues, our investors. We are a joke now, a joke served with Papa John's pizza." Victoria buried her face in her hands and sobbed. Outside, carolers passed by, their cheerful voices muffled through the frosted windows. Inside, the Carters' perfect world was collapsing, and somewhere, far above their little snow globe of privilege and pretense, my name was soaring, free and undeniable. The Manhattan Cafe was quiet, tucked away on a side street far from the bustle of the holiday crowds. I'd chosen it carefully, not too fancy, not too familiar. Neutral ground. I arrived early and took a seat by the window. Outside, snowflakes drifted lazily past the glass, the world hushed beneath a fresh white blanket. Inside, I wrapped my hands around a steaming cup of tea, letting its warmth steady me. Today wasn't about revenge, it was about closure. When they finally arrived, they came together but not united. Eleanor led the way, chin high, her fur coat draped over her shoulders like armor. Victoria trailed behind, mascara smudged and eyes hollow from sleepless nights. Charles followed last, his expression weary, as if he'd aged 10 years in the past 2 days. They sat across from me in strained silence. For a moment, none of us spoke. The only sound was the soft hiss of the espresso machine in the background. Finally, Eleanor cleared her throat, her voice brittle. "Amelia, this public display was unnecessary. You've humiliated this family." I met her gaze steadily. "No, Mother. I didn't humiliate you. You did that to yourselves." Her mouth opened in protest, but I held up a hand, calm and resolute. "I didn't come here to fight. I came to set boundaries. If you want any relationship with me moving forward, there are conditions." Victoria scoffed under her breath, but I ignored her. First, I said, ticking off the points on my fingers, you will treat me with equal respect. No more condescension. No more treating me like a servant. Second, you will publicly acknowledge my achievements. No pretending my success doesn't exist because it makes you uncomfortable. Third, there will be a genuine apology from all of you for years of belittling and dismissal. Fourth, family therapy. We can't move forward without addressing the past. I took a slow breath, then added, and finally, you must accept that my life is mine. My choices, my boundaries, my future. The words hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. Eleanor's lips trembled as she tried to compose herself. Amelia, we only wanted what was best for you. You must understand that I tilted my head, my voice soft but firm. You wanted what was best for you. There's a difference. For a heartbeat, the old ache stirred in my chest, the longing for their approval, their love. But it faded quickly, replaced by something stronger, self-respect. I built my life without you, I said, standing. Now I choose who gets to be part of it. Eleanor faltered, her eyes glassy. Victoria looked away, biting her lip. Charles said nothing at all. I turned and walked out without looking back. At my Tranquescence office later that afternoon, the atmosphere was the exact opposite of that cafe. Warm, vibrant, alive. My team greeted me with hugs and cheers, their pride genuine and palpable. As I stepped into my corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a breathtaking view of the ocean. The horizon stretched wide and endless, the sun shimmering like liquid gold on the waves. I stood there for a long moment, breathing it all in. The sound of laughter behind me, the steady hum of success I'd built with my own 2 hands. For the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible, I was free.